Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry about the little mix-up with the technology that was provided. But whatever was said about me pretty much sums up what I am. So I don't see any reason standing here in front of you and explaining it more. But I just want to take you a little memory lane that I've gone through. I'll take you back to 1988. That was not the year I was born. I was almost the age that some of the student audience that we have this morning with us are into. Your age group, and back in 88, what I was very similar. But accidentally, I was pushed into a career or a profession that I was not tested for. I had zilch experience. I had no imagination what a tomorrow would be. And I had no resume to present to my CEO that morning when I got the job. There was no interview staged for me for any kind of job that you require these days. So I would salute my luck and the opportune moment that a friend of mine just picked up the phone that morning and he said, "I've heard you complain about what we play on television. Now, if given the opportunity, would you be able to take up or shoulder television and show the world how to do television?" I said, let's give it a shot. So that's how I began, October of 1988. The world of television, let's forget about the world. The world of television in Nepal, we had one signal, and it was only 2 years old. There was the first batch of television people who were equally good or bad as I was. Because when they started, they also were wearing the same shoes that I was wearing that morning of 1988. They knew nothing. So television was a camera, a microphone, few lights. The cameraman shoots the picture, the sound man records the sound, and after a while, after it's recorded, the editor edits the footage, and there is a signal called broadcast signals that will put it on air for homes to watch you. That was television. That was television for me. That was television for the rest of the world. That was all I knew. Now let me fast forward to today. What is television? People have reinvented television. People have de-learned what they learned about television. People have forgotten how television began. Because nowadays, each and every person in the world is a television person or an audiovisual person. Because you have this gadget in your hand called the phone. Now that phone started as a phone. When I started back in 1988, this phone was beyond imagination. There was a little talk somewhere, an old magazine in a barber shop or in a doctor's clinic. Flip over, there might be a small, article that said, someday you might just hold a phone that will be known as a mobile phone, and you'll own it, you can talk to people, that's it. But now, the evolution is geometrical. Nothing arithmetical anymore in this world. So that technology Where I began back in '88 and the rest of the world experienced television late 40s, early 50s. We were 30 years late, but nevertheless, we got television in the color form day one. So we have records on our own. But today, now, everybody is a television person. What am I doing? What am I talking about? What am I boasting about that I belong to television? I don't boast about it. I'll give you an example. If you go out in the street, or if the TEDx had allowed, everybody would have been taking out their telephones and filming me, or filming whoever would be talking here. But thank God, TEDx has this rule that takes me back to 1988 again. The world was a TEDx-ruled environment. No phones, no recordings whatsoever. If somebody bangs a car, no recording. If you stab somebody, run away, no CCTV footage. You dance in the middle of the road, nobody would do anything. But now, everybody is filmed one way or the other all the time. So what's the point of a broadcast system that is known as television? If anybody in this room today wants to be an audiovisual man or a person or a woman who wants to be working for a TV station or a production company, you have competition from billions of people now. When we started, there was no competition. I was lucky. My generation of television people were lucky. We had one channel to compete with, but still, there was competition. There was jealousy. There were all sorts of wrongdoings those days. That if somebody made a fantastic program, how do I pull that person down? The attitude was still there. The attitude still remains. And that attitude will still continue to remain for the rest of the history, or the history that we'll be making in the future. So I don't want to come and talk in detail about the yesteryears anymore. Now we have to look forward. The instance that I gave you about the mobile phone, that there is an incident happening here. Everybody takes out that mobile phone and starts shooting in probably the same fashion, right? They just don't look, they just aim and they shoot what they see. Nothing exciting. There'll be 20 footages, and if you put it all together, it'll be the same goddamn footage from a little angled position. Nothing different. So being a professional audiovisual person is that 21st person who can still shoot that event with a different angle. An angle where you can generate interest from the people, the audience that you'll have. You'll shoot the pictures to make a mark about an incident that everybody else has seen. And a person who would shoot that differently would be a person standing tall, saying silently, I'm more creative than you. So that creativity is the little thin line that distinguishes a common audiovisual person and a professional television or an audiovisual person. I'm calling it audiovisual because now there is no distinction between mobile photography, professional television photography, video photography, or film photography. Because if I today make a material for telephones, that material is good enough to go on big theaters and we can project it on cinema halls. And if you make a cinema out of professional equipment And if you wanted to watch it on a mobile phone, that is still possible. So that is why the world has enlarged for us. So I don't call it that I belong to television anymore. I tell people that I belong to the world of audiovisual. So the only thing I'm trying to derive from today's short chat with you is that try to be the cut above if you really want to be an audiovisual person. That cut above is you try to test yourself with how creative are you. And this word creativity is such an entity. If I know this gentleman in the front is creative, and I feel that I'm a little less creative, and I feel that I'll go beg for that creativity of him. He cannot give it to me. And I might just have a very wrong notion in my head. I'll steal it from him. I cannot steal it from him. That thing called creativity is somehow you're born with it. All you have to do is realize that in early part of your life, or you test yourself and say, yes, I'm somehow creative, and you build on it. And experience builds that little foundation to a skyscraper if you want to be one. But that foundation has to be strong. The foundation has to be professional. The foundation has to be full of dedication. And the foundation has to be focused. So, ladies and gentlemen, my little discourse today gave you a very short history from where I began to where we are today. And I've given you a common factor that is hidden between us and how we distinguish ourselves from that crowd and be that recognized one. So, ladies and gentlemen, I still feel that there is plenty of potential in the field that I've already dedicated 30 plus years. I encourage people that come join us because that creative crowd that is required to make content to be the leader of the future is still lacked. It's still lacking. So we want to man that creative required manpower for creative content for us and for the rest of the world from Nepal. Why not? And get started now. Because television may not be the medium after, say, 10 years. That may not be the only medium to showcase what you've made as an audiovisual material. But the mediums will change. Probably our phone will be a router. I could just, stream that whatever film or documentary or a music video or a talk show that I make and project it wherever I want to project it. There will be a day these gadgets will be gone. There will be one organizer just getting up somewhere and say, okay, this is what I want to play for you. It'll just be played. It's not far away. I'm not imagining things and telling you. Because me being a person following this audiovisual industry for a long, long time, I can tell you technology changes overnight. And it surprises me, it flabbergasts me each and every time I go to a broadcast fair. So, for the future, whoever wants to join the industry of audiovisual, I tell you, content is king. Start thinking about content. Filming things is not content. It is the raw form of content. If you can weave a story, a credible story around it, if you give the world to see the right pictures, that is the trick of being the cut above in my field. And in your field, if you choose to be one of us. I thank you very much, and I thank you, TEDxKathmandu University, for this opportunity, and I hope that was my time. Thank you very much.